So in this video, we're going to talk about why most real estate agents just stay broke and sad, really. And this has been something that was inspired by one of my mentors, Alex Hormozy. But I wanted to just branch off this idea in terms of real estate agents and what I've not only seen from people I've been on a call with, but seen from people on social media who just share their own experiences on these sort of things. And it has been around the fact that a lot of agents just aren't consistent. And consistency is something that can also tie into how badly you want to succeed, really, and how much effort you're willing to put in. And it's just understanding the fact that all you need to do is just be consistent and relentless, right? Because I'm sure as an agent, you can agree with the fact there are a ton of times where you would be really excited and have high amounts of energy and just go ahead and spend 6 hours cold calling, 6 hours door knocking. And then there were those days where you just wake up and you're like, nah, I don't feel like it. Just spend like an hour working with 30 minutes working, right? And it's that inconsistency that separates those that succeed and are happy compared to those that don't succeed and are just sad, right? Because it takes a lot of effort and drive to be consistent and relentless with something, with the understanding that it is going to be hard. But here's another great quote I heard, which I've been trying to live by. And I can tell you right now, it is easier said than done, because even I myself have fallen victim to slipping out of inconsistency, where I could spend 2 weeks where I'm day in, day out consistent, and then just slip back in, and then for like 2, 3, 4 days I'm not consistent. Then I just watch a video or like see a post and I'm like, yeah, or maybe even read a book sometimes. I think a couple of weeks back it was reading a book, and in a book it was deep work. A specific paragraph had me. It was like, yeah, I've actually been slipping and then jumping back in and going back in to be consistent. It's understanding that granted there are going to be those times where you'd go a whole month or a whole few weeks being consistent, and 1 or 2 days you aren't, and then jumping back in. But it's the fact that understanding that there are going to be those days where you're like at the top of your peak, and then that day where you're like not at the top of your peak. And it's figuring out and finding a way to make sure that you're able to catch that. Because when you go down, it starts to spiral, and then one day of being relaxing turns into 2 days, and then 2 days turns into 3, and 3 turns, and so on and so on. It's finding a way that when you are at the top and you see yourself falling down, you're like, I see you. And then you go back up and go back to the level where you know you're supposed to stay at. And the only way to do that is being relentless, having drive, and being consistent. And when I say having drive, knowing that you want to succeed, not only wanting to succeed, but feeling that you need to succeed. If not for your current self, then at the very least for your future self, or for who you're trying to become. Because every time I have this quote on my laptop is, what would a wise man do? Once again, that's something that I learned from Alex. What would a wise man do? Literally have it as my wallpaper on my laptop. Because I understand that every single task I'm doing, there are going to be those few times where my brain, like the lizard side of my brain, wins, and I jump into doing something unproductive. And then just seeing that, wallpaper makes me realize, I'm like, this isn't what I should be doing. I'm slipping. Let me jump back into what I'm supposed to be doing. And you as an agent, when you go ahead and find that one thing you're supposed to be doing and just focus on that, and then finding ways or barriers that you essentially be able to just catch yourself when you do start slipping, are vitally important. And it's realizing that all you have is yourself to keep you accountable, because you don't have any parents to keep you accountable. You're a grown adult. You don't have any friends or partners that'll keep you accountable, because in the back of their head, they're also assuming, yeah, this person is a grown adult. They can manage themselves. Your principal, you can't even rely on your principal to keep you accountable, because he's probably or she's probably only going to call you up when it's time to give you a stern talking to, or when it's time for training. You can't even rely on your own spouse to keep you accountable. The only thing you can rely on, the only person you can rely on to keep you accountable is you. And the best way, or the best form of keeping yourself accountable, at the very least I've come across, is drive. And figuring out how badly you want it, or how badly you need it. But not only that, because that does wane. Like motivation is something that wanes. It's also figuring out who you need to become to achieve this goal, and then start striving to become that person. Ask yourself, what would, if you're looking to be a top agent and achiever status within your office, and take a second to figure out, if I was achiever status, what would that person have? What are the characteristics? What are the behaviors? What are the habits that specific person has? And then just work towards those habits, develop those habits, those beliefs, those tactics and those characteristics, because tactics are only like 20%. That 80% relies on your beliefs, your character traits, and your habits. Your habits could be something from waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning. They could even be calling 100 people every single day. They could be going to a roadshow every single day for 5 days a week, right? Those are habits. And it's focusing just on that one question. Asking yourself that one question every single time you do a task. What would a successful agent do? And then ask yourself, am I doing it? And if you're not, knowing and accepting the fact that you need to switch immediately the task that you're doing, so you can actually continue on that path. And over time, it will take time. There will be days, like I said, where you're at the top, you're doing what a successful agent will do. But then there's going to be that day where you fall and you stop doing that. And you need to be the one to tell yourself, am I doing what a successful agent would do? And if the answer is no, going ahead and doing what a successful agent needs to do. And I feel that this video that right next to me is a great form of representation of what I'm talking about. At the very least, it's a great segue from what we just talked about. So go ahead and watch that video, and I will see you in that video. Cheers.